Welcome to the Lose Your Big Ass Stomach podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson, and my mission here is to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and take back control of your health so that you can look and feel your best by being the best version of yourself, mentally and physically, while destroying the mediocre agenda society is trying to brainwash you into, and breaking our families' generational curses of being unhealthy by being a healthy and fit role model. It's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of living. If you find the podcast helpful, be sure to hit that follow button because that helps us build a movement. Let's go. Now, I see a lot of trainers out there, they promote the you got to do this best workout. You got to do this meal plan to be able to lose the weight and keep it off. You gotta eat healthy all the time to be able to lose that big old ass stomach and keep it off. And there is some truth to this, guys. There is some truth to it. But that's not the whole truth. There's a whole lot of folks on social media. They want to give you their truth, but they're not giving you the whole truth. All right? You heard how I said? The whole truth. You want to get rid of that whole big old ass stomach, you got to know the whole truth, guys. All right? And so here's the thing. I see a lot of people, they do these workouts and these diets, and they try these training programs, workout programs, nutrition plans, and they lose some weight. They get rid of the stomach. But then after a couple of months, they end up gaining all the weight back. The stomach end up coming back. And then they be all embarrassed, sometimes even feeling depressed. You can fall into a depression that way. I remember when I went through, I was in this network marketing company, and I was on top of the world. Young, I was in my early 20s riding around in a M6 BMW convertible. I think what was it, 2012, 2013 M6. A young guy riding around in that nice car. And when I lost the car, I didn't have the car no more, I was depressed. When you lose things that you really look at as valuable to you, you can fall into a depression. Like some people, they get in shape, they lose the big old ass stomach, and then they end up going backwards. It's easy to fall into a depression when you lose things that you perceive as valuable to you. So I don't want that to happen to you. And so I'm about to give you the game on what things you need to pay attention to. Now, one part of it is the habits. All right, and this is probably one of the parts that you guys have already heard me talk about a lot. You got to have the right habit. If your ass ain't tracking, you're slacking. If you're not hitting the gym and you're not making dates with the weights, man, what are you doing? What earth are you living on? If you want to look good naked, your ass got to lift weights. You can't just do cardio unless you okay with looking like a little weak, skinny string bean, looking all frail and sick. You got to work out. You got to lift weights. Ain't no way around it. But aside from the lifting weights and nutrition, of course, you gotta eat. You gotta make sure you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, you're not resting, guys, you cut years, if not decades, off of your life if you're not resting and getting sleep. It's very important. Like I know at times in my life, if I'm having a very stressful day and my mind is just mentally zapped, which a whole lot of us, like who grind and working towards certain things, we're moving with purpose, we're gonna endure a little bit more stress, right? But if your ass ain't sleeping, you're not going to feel well to do it again the next day. And so a lot of times when I get my, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, the next day, your boy feel recharged. I can give y'all this game all over again, baby. I can give you some more game, all right? But here's the thing that a lot of people don't think about. Not only do your habits have to change from the person, like the person who you were or who you are right now. Let's say you got that big old stomach, you like, man, I gotta get rid of it, man. I'm tired of coach talking shit about me. You gotta change them habits that you've developed over the years, sometimes months, sometimes years, right? And you have to start developing new habits. You have to condition yourself with, eating consistently in the proper way, exercising properly, and not only just looking at, okay, I can't be this version of myself I used to be anymore. But you also have to have not just the habits, but you have to start thinking about the person who you are becoming. As you cannot identify as two people. Most people, they start to change the habits, but then they still have that they still identify themselves as the fat boy. They still identify themselves as, oh man, I'm the type of person that love eating sweets. I've always eaten sweets and junk food my whole life. That's who I am. You can't change the habits, but not change the identity. Because if you change the habits and don't change the identity, you relapse. I hope somebody caught that. Because if you start changing all these habits, but you still thinking as the same version of yourself who you were before, with the junk food habits, with binge eating late at night. Oh, I'm stressed out, I'm gonna binge eat. Oh, I'm stressed out, I gotta drink a whole bottle of wine. Oh, I'm stressed out, I gotta drink some alcohol. You can't self-identify as that person no more. You have to have a new identity. And so, as we change our habits, guys, we have to change the way we view ourselves. Myself included. Like, I had to go through the same process. It's not easy. But we have to start identifying, and here's what I mean by this. I knew for me to be able to get to the next level, not just in business, but in life, I had to become more consistent. I couldn't just be all over the place just trying to do every little wicked thing. I had to get focused. And so that way I could be consistent. And so I could start to see, what do they call it? Compounded interest, right? It's compounded. You want your results to compound. Like people who invest in stock, they want it to compound. So they making more money, right? You can do the same thing when you have consistency and focus with doing the right things. But you can't get that if you're not focused. You can't get that if you I'm just gonna try it out. It might work. You ain't gonna get nowhere like that. I knew these were things that I had to change about myself. I knew if I wanted to get to where I want to be at, I had to go all in. I had to become disciplined, meaning doing things even when I don't feel like doing it. That's a part of it. And I said to myself, not only did I say I need to do these things, but I started to identify, like, what is the type of, what version of myself am I striving to become? Like, this is not woo-woo shit, y'all. I hope y'all really catching this. You have to, like, picture an image of yourself. Like, your 2.0 version of yourself. Just close your damn eyes. Close your eyes and just listen to me. Your 2.0 version of yourself. What is that version of yourself doing? And how does that version of yourself live and think that you're not doing right now? What do they do? Are they more consistent? Are they more disciplined? Is that version of yourself more have more emotional grit, mental grit when shit gets tough? Do you just bitch and moan and cry and just hide and, go into your little man cave right now? But what about your 2.0 version of yourself? What that version of yourself do? That version of yourself lean in. That version of yourself go harder. That version of yourself say, hey man, I love me. Yo, what up? Just wanted to take a quick second to let you know I want to change your life. If you've been listening to the episode and you know that I have what it takes to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and transform your body, and you ready to make them changes in your life, head over to my Instagram @JJacksonOfficial and DM your boy Real Results, and I'll reach out to you and we'll talk about your biggest struggles. We'll talk about the goals that you want to accomplish, and I'll give you some guidance and a game plan on what you need to do next to hit those goals. Again, head over to my Instagram @JJacksonOfficial and DM me the words Real Results, and I'll reach out to you to do what I can to help you. Now let's get back to the episode. Me some me. Because here's the thing about love, y'all. Here's the thing about love. When you truly love, like if you got kids, or your mom, your dad, you truly love your parents. You truly love your kids. You do damn near anything for them, right? Anything. I give my baby the shirt off my back. If it's the last thing, I give it to my baby. You love them, you give yourself that same type of love. Like, are you truly giving yourself that same type of love? If you knew that your child was dying, if you knew your child was dying, you knew your child was sick, how far would you be willing to go to make sure your child is okay? Now, if you truly love yourself, and you know if you keep heading in the wrong direction, if you let things get out of hand, what's going to happen a year from now? What's going to happen 5 years from now? You have to start loving yourself. This is something I had to do. And it don't necessarily mean you hate yourself if you're not doing these things. But in a way, you really don't love yourself as much as you think you do. Because your ass ain't doing what's required to take care of yourself if you truly loved yourself. You be like, shit, man, I love myself like your kids. Baby, I love you, but you can't eat the junk food today. Baby, I love you, but I ain't gonna let you go out there and play with them badass kids, because them kids right there, they some troublemakers. So you discipline them. You tell them, hey, you can't do these things. You give them structure. You got to do the same thing for yourself if you love yourself. Hey, I know you want to eat that junk food. I know you want to drink all these frappuccinos and these donuts and these pancakes and these chips. I know you want to do this, but I love you too much. I love me some me so much. We can't eat this bullshit today. You've been doing it too much. I remember back in the days when I was a kid, we could eat McDonald's once every other week or once a week. It wasn't we just eat it whenever we want to eat it. We had structure. You have to give yourself that same type of structure. If you love yourself, it can't just be, oh, I'm grown as hell now, I can just do it when I want to do it. No, you still have to have that structure. And society has shown us these patterns. You have to have structure. People who do not have structure, what do they call that? That motherfucker is out of control. Out of control. You just eating food and drinking whenever you want to. However you want to. Out of control. You must have structure, man. And that's how you have to start thinking about these things. My 2.0 version of myself, this person has structure. My 2.0 version of Jay Jackson, he go hard. He don't just go hard. He not just go show up. He go show up with energy. He go show up with charisma. He not go just, be a look in shape. When motherfuckers see Jay Jackson, oh yeah, they get inspired and motivated to go a little bit harder. They get inspired just off of looking at him. And so these are things I look at myself, my 2.0 version of myself. And I'm always continuing to just think about, man, what else is this version of myself doing? How else is this version of myself like? Is this version of myself? He's not just look conscious, he's also health conscious. He don't want to just be all shredded up and cut up, fuck around and have a stroke in his mid and early 30s. No, he want to be healthy too. And so that he could be around. He's not just thinking short term, he's thinking long term. He's a long term thinker. You see what I'm saying? And so you got to start thinking about, what does your 2.0 version of yourself look like, think like, behave like? And you got to start living that way. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to shift your identity from thinking about the old you. It's got to be out with the old, in with the new. You thinking forward. You in with the new, guys. You adopting new habits, but you also have a new identity that you're striving to become. That's how this stuff works, man. This is how you get the results you want and you keep the results. Because if you just adopt the habits without changing the identity, you will always relapse. It's always going to feel like work. It's always going to feel like, oh, I'm suffering. Oh, why do I have to do this? But when you adopt a new identity, you're able to raise your capacity to just be able to tolerate certain things. You look at it differently. You view it differently. You have a different attitude towards eating healthy. You have a different attitude towards lifting weights and exercising. It's a part of who you are at that point, because it's part of your identity. It's no longer a chore to do these things. Because if you always view it as a chore, old identity, you always view it as, this is not important, old identity, even with the new habits, your ass still go fall back into the old ways, because you're not going to do it with the right attitude. You're not going to do it with the right intent. Guys, these things have to happen. Not just in fitness, but in finances. Not just in finances and fitness, but also in relationships. You have to change the way you view yourself. They call it your self-image. How do you view yourself? Some people are not willing to spend a couple of $100 a month on their health and fitness because their self-image is so low. They don't have that high level of self. But when you have a high level of self-worth, guys, when you have that high level of self-worth, you're willing to spend anything on yourself because you love yourself. And you know, shit, if I'm willing to bet on anything, I'm willing to bet on me. But when you don't have that self-image, when you have that level of self-worth, yeah, you damn right your ass gonna be scared to invest in yourself. Because you don't trust yourself. When you don't love somebody, most likely you don't trust and respect that person. You gotta be willing to put in the work to be able to trust and respect yourself. And so that way you be willing to invest in yourself. Because you have that level of self-worth. That's the only way this thing works, man. That's the only way this thing works. Alright? And that's just not me preaching, teaching, giving y'all some game. This is the shit that I've been living. These are the things that I see my coaching clients doing and how their life just been able to transform. The Ann who done dropped 60-something pounds in 6 months after being hesitant about investing in training. Guys, this shit is real life. Like, it's folks out here losing their legs from type 2 diabetes, having strokes, having heart attacks, erectile dysfunction, dealing with divorce and all kind of stuff because they're not taking care of themselves. They don't have the energy to show up the way they need to for their family and for themselves because they're not doing these things. You have to start adopting new habits and a new self-image. Take time to write on a sheet of paper. What does my 2.0 version of myself do? How do they live? How does this person walk? How does this person talk? How does this person show up on a daily basis? Is this person negative or is this person positive? Does this person speak energy and life into people that they, interact with, or do they drain them? Like, you got to think about these things. This is your life. Because if you don't start doing these things, you got to suffer the consequences. It's consequences, y'all. That's something that I think about a lot. It ain't always just, the habits along with the thing that I want to accomplish, but it's also what happens if I don't do these things? I start thinking about that. Man, will I be able to take care of my parents when I get older and when they get older? Man, will I be able to provide the way I want to for my family? Man, what about my health? How would I feel about myself a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if I just made excuses? Oh man, I just can't be consistent. Oh man, it was just too hard. How would I feel about myself at that point? A year, 5, 10 years from now? I know I would feel regretful. It would be very painful. Watching myself and my family, suffer, watching my body deteriorate, watching my bank account dwindle. I think about consequences. And so sometimes those consequences are more motivation than the future self. Sometimes the consequences will get you moving. You got to know you. You got to know where you need to focus at. I know for me, the consequences get my ass up every single day. For other people, it might drain them. Some people, they might not need to think about the consequence. They might need to think about all the good that's going to happen. You got to know what's going to charge you up to get this shit done. Because ain't nobody going to make it happen but you. You can try to join any coaching program you want to and want all these guarantees you want to. I can tell you right now, it ain't no guarantee unless your ass is guaranteed to do the work. Because if you ain't going to do the work, if you're not going to put in the discipline, the commitment, and you just got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, motherfucker, you one of them, yeah, your ass going to keep on struggling. But at some point, you got to wake up and want this shit for yourself and for your family, for the people that you love and care about. And so, double down on the right habits, double down on your 2.0 version of yourself, and yeah, also remember them consequences. Because there's always some consequences to the decisions that we make. All right? Yo, appreciate you for tapping in and listening to the podcast episode today. Hopefully you found it valuable. And if you did and you want to learn more about how I can help you lose the big ass stomach, transform your body, and get your health on point, DM me real results over on Instagram at JJacksonOfficial for more information. And I'll reach back out to you to do what I can to help you hit those health and fitness goals. Let's get it.